That's right. We're right back here at WCRS Radio, and we do have Senator Billy Garrett with us here this morning. We've been talking about his re-election campaign. We've been talking, the things that he has accomplished, and, of course, some of the things he'd like to accomplish. One of the questions, Billy, that keeps popping up here is the venue crisis, what is happening with the music and the insurance. I mean, a lot of people want to know, Billy, what you're going to do about it. Hold on one second. Excuse me. What you're going to do about the fact that legislation that is currently forcing numerous establishments to close down. These places can't afford the skyrocketed increased premiums and are having to close their doors as a result. Lots of places in the upstates have had to close. It's only going to keep getting worse. So where do you stand on that? What is the real issue? I understand there's a lot more to this issue than just insurance rates going up.
Well, the first thing is, let's ask the question. Who is charging these people? Who is charging our local businesses? Listen, I've run a small business for 40 years.
Right.
So the question first is, who is charging this insurance rate? And I will tell you that it is the major insurance companies. And I don't represent major insurance companies.
Right.
I don't represent insurance companies that come out of New York and New Jersey, California, and Houston, Texas. Okay.
But where does our insurance come from?
Well, that's where that's where the big decisions are made about insurance premiums. Right. In South Carolina, in 2017, before I became a legislator, a number of people were getting so injured by liquor liability, in other words, where people were serving liquor to people. And there are some bad actors out there. And there's some absolutely good actors, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. But what was going on is a lot of these people were getting severely injured. And we had the Hartfield case right here in Greenwood, where a young man was injured permanently for life. And the bar was only worth $37,000, and that was all they had to pay. Well, the legislature in 2017 changed the law and required that if you're going to sell liquor by the drink, you better be careful about it, and you have to carry $1 million coverage.
So that comes out of 2017?
That's right, 2017.
Okay. So that's not a new law?
No, it's been there since that time, and the rates have been basically the same since then. All of a sudden, in the last year or so, the insurance companies took it on themselves to raise those rates tremendously. We would always expect rates to go up, and at a little, for inflation, for instance,
right.
If they went up 20% with 20% inflation, I would understand that, okay?
Right.
But instead, the insurance companies are the ones who are causing this problem, not the legislature. The insurance companies raised those rates tremendously.
Okay.
And some of them 200-300%. And some of them made sense, some of them didn't, okay? Now, I will tell you what I did in Greenwood. I went ahead and met with about 2 different meetings. I met with about 17 bar owners here locally, and I laid it out exactly what was going on. And I actually tried to get a regulation of insurance companies to regulate them from doing what they're doing to these bar owners. I think it's...
Insurance. You're talking about the insurance companies, to regulate the insurance.
To regulate the insurance companies, because what they're doing, they're raising the rates inappropriately. And here's how I know that. Mr. Kevin Prather of the Sports Break actually searched and was able to get a reduction. You see, this big crisis is not really a crisis. It's manufactured crisis, and it's manufactured by the insurance industry, okay? I don't represent insurance companies. I represent 115,000 people, and I'm going to take care of those people over those insurance companies. I'm all about business, Ann. You know that. Right. I'm a conservative businessman, and I'm conservative when it comes to business. I didn't make the law about the $1 million coverage, okay?
Right.
And so you can't change that overnight once you've got it in place. And look, those people that are also serving food, they get a lower rate. And those people that serve all liquor,
right,
and that they have a higher rate. The other thing is, it's kind of like SR22 insurance. If you've got some violations against you, you're going to have to pay a higher rate. And Ann, guess what?
What?
you should pay a higher rate. If you're out there serving people who go out and kill others, I mean, we got.
If you're being irresponsible and you're
if you're serving inappropriately, and look, I'm not saying. Listen, we've got some tremendous people. Listen, I think Kevin Prather at the sports break there and
Break on the
Lake. I think they do a tremendous job, and a lot of others that came to see me.
See, I think the problem is because we just had a question come in. Insurance carriers had to raise the rates because of the legislation.
Well, listen, that's something that happened in 2017. Why all of a sudden are they having to raise the rates way beyond? Why are they raising them 300 to 400%, Ann?
So this idea that you voted with the Democrats on this is not true?
I never vote with Democrats. I vote for the people, Ann.
Okay.
I represent 115,000 people, okay?
That's a lot of people.
And a lot of those people are Democrats, and a lot of those people are independents, and a lot of those people are Republicans, okay?
So you're saying that 2017 is when this law passed.
That's right.
That's when they went to the $1 million.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this last year,
yes,
the rates skyrocketed.
That's right.
That's right.
And so why all of a sudden did they skyrocket? Well, you know why?
Why?
Because these insurance companies are ripping the people off. These big insurance companies are doing damage to the good people of South Carolina.
So what can we do about it?
Let me tell you what I did about it.
Okay.
Look at Senate Bill 1050. I sponsored
Bill 1050.
Bill 1050, and the purpose for that bill is to seek regulation to make sure there's no price gouging going on with insurance companies. And I sat in 6 meetings, I think there were 8 total meetings, and I looked at all the evidence one way or the other. And I can tell you this. I'm going to take care of the people of South Carolina, and I'm not going to be led down the.
So are you against people having bars and venues
Absolutely
to go out
not.
there? What did you say? What did you say, Billy Garrett?
I represent them.
So you're not against the people?
I represent some of those establishments and have all of my life. So look.
As a defense lawyer. Yes.
As a lawyer, period.
Right, okay.
Helping them set up corporations, numerous bars and that kind of thing in Greenwood for all these years. So
you understand this law.
I understand this well. I understand that the insurance companies are kicking our tail, and we aren't, and these people like this that are trying to blame the legislature needs to be looking at the people that are raising their rates, and that's the insurance company. Look at Senate Bill 1050. I sponsored legislation as the lead sponsor to go in and to examine it, because they didn't give us all of their records in 23. They tried to say earned premiums, and this is so in the weeds, and I actually spent couple of hours with the people here from Greenwood and sat down and talked with them about it so they would understand. And anybody else that wants to come and sit down with me, I will.
Would you like somebody to call you if they have a question about this?
Absolutely. They should call me at 864-554-0963. Everybody knows all they got to do is call me, and I'll sit down and talk to anybody. I brought these people. I knew this was going to be a problem, not for me. Look, it's going to be a problem for the bar owners because the insurance companies are getting over on them, and I wasn't going to stand for it. And they got mad at me about it, but that's fine. Look, I don't represent insurance companies. You go down to Columbia,
right,
and look at the big buildings down there.
Right.
And either a bank or they're an insurance company.
Exactly.
Those people are making money.
Those are the shiny buildings.
I don't want to hear it, okay? And I don't want to hear it. Those people are making money, and then they're gouging, and then they're trying to blame the legislature for it. Look, I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. And that's why we got an insurance commission. There's 2 other areas that we regulate. We regulate in the area of medical malpractice and in workers' compensation. And I'm saying if we're going to keep this law, look, I didn't pass this law. The
one from 2017.
I didn't pass it. That's the law that was in place when I got here, and that's the way everybody's been paying their premiums, and all of a sudden they started trying to raise them, and when we looked into it, they weren't able to explain it. They said, we don't have as many people writing that insurance. There was 42 back in 17. Guess how many there are now, Miss Ann?
How many?
42.
42.
Yeah, and so when Mr. Prather was able to, from the sports break, was able to go and actually get a reduction in premium,
right?
That proves to me that everybody who's complaining about this, if they've got a good record, right. In other words, if they don't have a lot of violations against them, and if they've got a mix of food and alcohol, should be able to get a very moderate rate. Okay, and if they're ones, and again, I don't know about this Blind Horse Saloon. Some people are trying to blame me because it got closed down. I don't know anything about it, but all these venues are fine if they follow the law.
And didn't they come up with some idea, or did that not get passed in that new legislation about ways to decrease your insurance based on video and training their people?
There's a great bill in the House, and again, instead of attacking us, we were trying to get, and it's the Republican leadership that's dealing with these insurance companies that contested our bill, trying to help liquor liability. It's unbelievable.
Wait a minute. Who was that again?
The leadership of the Republicans, okay, and the Democrats taking care of large insurance companies.
Right.
It was unbelievable. They stopped our bill. They stopped my bill. My bill was trying to regulate them to get in. And listen, I don't like regulation. I'm opposed to regulation. But there are some situations like medical malpractice, workers' comp, where you have to regulate because you are requiring somebody to maintain a certain amount of insurance.
Sure.
So, if you require people to maintain a certain amount of insurance, then you have to be able, okay, to regulate that, because if you let them have carte blanche, they'll do what they did. They raised it 300 to 400% and
well, why didn't you guys get a law or something passed?
We tried. I did. That's what, if you look at Senate 1050, I tried to get a regulation to regulate this, to do a study immediately and to make sure that we're not an outlier in South Carolina, and then to fix it. Also,
what happened to the bill? What happened to the bill?
It never made it out of committee. Okay. I actually got a hearing on it, but it never made it out of committee. It was never going to make it out of committee because the insurance, the large insurance companies have got control over this issue right now. Okay,
and
but I'm not going to stand up.
Through the Senate,
through the legislature.
Through a legislature.
Look,
okay,
the House had a bill that was excellent. The House had a bill that it required you to have $1 million policy, but if you did certain things, it would go to $750, and if you did certain more things, it would go to $500, and if you did all of the things that you needed to do, it would go to like $250.
Wow.
Okay. And so,
well, why didn't that go through?
Well, again, the powers that be didn't want it to go through. Okay, the powers that be didn't want it to go through, but we were trying.
These are legislators.
These are bills that are in the House that should have gotten over to the Senate, and we should have been able to debate those bills. Look, this idea of liquor liability, will be with us forever, okay?
Right.
And so it needs to be regulated. It truly does. And if these insurance companies would require, they wouldn't even give us their algorithms as to how they determine how they set their rates. Why is that? Because they wouldn't be able to explain how they could go and to call up somebody and say, okay, your rate just went up 300%.
Right.
They wouldn't be able to explain it. And they can't explain it. And that's why they didn't want us to go through and have this review committee to come in and study it to find out what they were up to. So look, all I'm going to say is this. I don't represent those insurance companies.
Right.
I represent small businesses. I met with small businesses. I explained to them what was really going on. And I'll be happy to show people what's really going on. And that's the only thing they've been able to attack me on, okay?
Right.
Because I have stood up against the insurance companies, and I'll stand up tomorrow because I'm going to represent that 115,000 people.
But you can't.
And that is not large insurance companies.
But there are insurance that is being able to be gotten.
Yes, and call Kevin Prather.
Okay.
He was able, literally, there's a fellow over at that also runs Skippers, as I understand it, that sells this type of insurance.
Okay.
On the side, okay?
Right.
And so they were able to find policies. There's 42 people and companies that are writing this insurance. This idea that, they're leaving South Carolina in droves is not true.
Okay.
We were able to establish that's not true. So all this insurance industry baloney that you're hearing out here, all these false ads, all these false attacks, I don't even know the people at Blind Horse Saloon.
Right.
Against me, that's the only thing that they've ever been able to say anything negative about me. And at the end of the day, I represent the people of Greenwood, Saluda, and Lexington, including bar owners, and I've met with them. Okay.
Right. So what will be happening this year when you go back in the legislature, should you be reelected? What would be your answer to this?
And if God be willing, I will be reelected, and I'm going to go down and continue to work on this problem. Just hollering about it and screaming about it doesn't get anything done. I'm going to go down there and work hard to try to get with we got to get with the General Assembly on the other side, the House. The House and Senate has to work together, and we will work together. Now, that's just the way it works down there. Okay, there are those that are going to fight us. You know, the insurance companies are making plenty of money. Go down there and look at the buildings. You know, and they really refuse to give us the actual documents that we asked for in our hearing. On numerous occasions, we even wrote them a separate letter. The Senate chairman of Judiciary wrote them a separate letter and said, hey, this information you haven't given us. And they didn't even give us the information for 2023, Ann.
Okay, well, I got one more question for you. Okay, one more question. It says he's being disingenuous. Please ask him directly.
Who seems disingenuous?
This is what a text coming in here. Please ask him directly why he voted against S533, which 80% of Republicans voted in favor of and was supported by all of the bars and restaurants.
And I voted in favor of the 115,000 people that I represent. I wasn't voting on a Republican ticket or a Democrat ticket. I was voting for the people, okay?
Okay.
That's my job. I don't go down there and vote Republican or Democrat. I represent 115,000 people, okay? Mm-hmm. And my position remains firm on this and fine. If there's people out there who don't like the way I talk about this being disingenuous, I don't know how much, I mean, who is charging the rates, Ann?
Right.
Who is this person just calling you? And ask him, does he work for the insurance company? Do you know that they actually sent people out that they paid to come in to places like the Greenwood Women's Association to be able to come in and talk this junk? You know?
I don't know. I'm
telling you, the lobbies, the insurance lobbies who have millions of dollars. And guess what? When you raise your rates 300%, I guess you got more money to do that kind of garbage. Well, look, I'm just not, look, I've practiced law for 40 years. I know a stink when I see one. I can smell one when I smell one.
Right.
And all I can tell you is that I'm going to stand up for the 115,000, and that's where I'm going to come down on.
Well, I think that's great. And I think it also is worthwhile to discuss it so that you can make sure that everybody understands from where you're coming from.
Have anybody come see me at that number at 864-554-0963. They can come to my office. I have the meeting at my office, law office right here in Greenwood, where I met 2 different times. I met with about 17 bar owners and establishments.
Okay.
And those people in Greenwood will tell you that I did.
Right, absolutely. And I think sometimes, though, when rumor can hurt you more than the truth, right? I mean, people put stuff out there. So I think it's a good thing to make that answer. So
I'll dispel a rumor in a heartbeat.
All right. Well, give him a call. If you have questions, there's lots of different groups who have been lobbying for this, and I'm not sure I understand all of it, but I do understand that I believe Billy Garrett when he says that he is for the people. He has always been for the people. He's always represented the little guy, even at times where it might have been better to back off. He always stayed with the little guy. So that's Billy Garrett, Senator Billy Garrett here. I hope if you have a question, you will give him a call, 864-554-0963. Sometimes when the numbers can be skewed, a lot of stuff can be changed. So anyways, give him a call. Let him talk to you about it. Go to his office and talk to him about it. He would love to sit down and talk about it.